What other questions might you have? Yes?
Just have a comment. Ship Ahoy is still used as a residence?
No. As I've been told, it's being used by the U.S. Marines.
I was there on Tuesday and I work for the U.S. government.
Oh.
It's used as, it's still a residence, the State Department.
Oh.
Next to it is the Marine House, but it's a separate complex.
Okay, yeah, you're right. There are two houses on that site. And there's another house to the left of the main house, and I'm not sure what that is. That used to be, was it Damiano? I think, Paul, you mentioned that, was it the Damiano family that lived there or something?
This is Paul.
No, another Paul here. Paul.
Theo Damiano.
Yeah.
For Levy for a long time. Levy gave him that piece of property. But at the end of his life, he was running a flower shop.
He was. His wife was.
Yeah. He was there too.
Interesting, thank you. Thank you for that insight too about the houses. So we can stop in and have coffee or something with the people in the house, right? Yes, sir.
In doing research down at the archives, I stumbled upon something about Mr. Levy. In September of 1949, the pound was devalued from $4 a pound to $2.80, which meant that a pound, we were importing stuff from the United States, paying in pounds. So a pound would buy far less than it used to buy, and prices went up. And Levy, or the Harrisville Company, had advertisements in the paper saying that in order to help the people of the Bahamas, he was not putting up any of his prices. He did this for quite a long time.
That would be so typical of the man. That would be. Excellent. Yes, ma'am. Do you want to ask something? You're sitting on the edge of your seat. You're excited.
Are you publishing what you've done?
I'm doing two things. I'm doing a book called the Life and Business Philosophies of Austin T. Levy, quoted directly from him in his writings. He wrote a lot of things. He gave regular talks to business groups, to the U.S. Congress. He also published a lot of pamphlets of the things that he talked about. And he was very active at trying to get other businesses to raise wages and to reduce hours of work. He was very progressive in that way. So I'm taking all those things, it'll be a book. And then the second thing I'm doing is a film. These are simultaneous, the book's almost finished actually. To have a 1 hour film documentary for public broadcasting and also DVDs that we can send to different libraries and historical societies and so on, to tell his life story. And it may be that another story is required, another movie is required, I don't know yet, but I think we can tell enough that will hopefully teach people that, his basic idea is that we need to coexist business and communities. We can't be, the one side saying, well, you're ripping us off, and the other side saying, well, we're trying to rip you off. Well, that doesn't work. He said, we have to work together, and in doing so, we all can get better, and we can not only survive, but thrive. And he was very, very successful. And the people, when they bought his business, they bought his whole business, everything, not including what was here in the Bahamas, for a little over $4 million. They bought it in 1942. They paid it off. They had a 10-year note. They paid it off in 1952. He had already passed away, but then they owned it completely. And it ran till the late 70s, before the southern textile mills really ran almost every mill in New England out of business. I don't know if I have. Jim, if you tell people about the movie and just tell them how we're doing it, how we're financing it and stuff. I don't know if anybody's. I wanted to tell you how we've been funding this movie. I, of course, threw money in at the beginning because I wanted to do it. Then I got some foundations involved, including the June Rockwell Levy Foundation, the Rhode Island Commission on the Humanities also has helped us, and a lot of private donors. We I wanted to share this with you so that we're hopefully very transparent about it. The budget's $65,000. We've raised about 22, and we're looking to raise a bit more. And I wanted to show you who's doing the film. The writer and director, that's me, and then a director of photography is Jim Karpachik, who's an Emmy Award-winning filmmaker for PBS and also does all the World War II Foundation films. He's done 10 of those already. He's a D-Day. He's over in Normandy right now doing the D-Day celebration for a film that they're making. We also had the Rhode Island Council on the Humanities and also the Historical Society. Rhode Island Historical Society is actually my fiscal agent for this project. And then here's the characters involved. Jim on the left, he's the photographer, me there on the right. And then we have a lot of research help. All these guys, except for me, are professional researchers. They're all historians, actually. And then the woman on the left here, she is the Burrowville town historian, done that many years, written half a dozen books about the history of her town. And then the people on the right are the current owners of the first mill that Levy ever leased. I'm meeting with them again on Tuesday, taking my photographer down there to shoot pictures of this first mill. They've renovated it. It's now a long-term housing place. And this is my group at the National Archive. I don't know if you know those people. The people on the left, those are the women that work at the archive. I spent a lot of time with them last December. And then anybody that's interested in being involved, these are some of the levels of funding that we're looking for. These are screen credit funding. There's a producer credit and 2 producers for the Bahamas, 2 in the States, and similarly some associate producers here and in the States at different levels. And then we'll be doing smaller things. This is our supporter patch. It's not a patch, it's actually a sticker. And here's a preview of the cover of the book about the life and business philosophies of Austin Levy. And the subtitle is, as a companion book to the film, The Amazing Life and Times of Austin Levy. And then we're going to start a crowdfunding campaign in about a month. And this is an online thing. If you've never done it, it's run by companies called like Kickstarter.com and Indiegogo, which does a lot of films. And this is a virtual crowdfunding program where people from all over the world can donate money to your project. And this is done for all kinds of new inventions, for films, for theater projects, for even building projects are done this way now. And so this will go up online in about 6 weeks. And I'll certainly send notices to everybody that I have addresses for. And that's it. Anybody has any questions or you'd like to talk further? I'd love to talk to you. Yes?
I think that after Levy's death, the guy we know as Pop Senator, the politician, took over that farm, and I think eventually the government, after the government changed to majority rule, took it over.
Well, that's the story. I haven't gotten all the details on that. I'm interested in. I'm not as interested in that as what happened during his actual lifetime. I think maybe somebody else will tell that story. That's probably more of a story for the Lutheran history. You know.
Yeah, what happened is my uncle worked on the boat that brought the products over afterwards.
Oh, is that right?
And we used to the Monroe. And we used to go out in the back of that same dock that you had, waiting for him. You know, my parents were waiting for the eggs, and I was waiting for the ice cream.
Well, you got to have priorities. That's important. Anybody else? I really enjoyed being here. I was thrilled that when Jim asked me to come down, and then I think I got an email from him, and I may be mistaken about this, Jim, that said you weren't going to be here or something. And then I read it and said you were getting here the day before. Is that what happened?
It gave me especially to meet you again.
That's sweet. I like that. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks, Ken, very much. Very, very interesting talk. It's nice to hear about people who are entrepreneurs, visionaries, and very, very kind people. Yeah, thanks for coming down and helping us out with the tour. We would have invited you to write an article for the journal. Anne and I are editors of the journal, and we need a 15-page. You do that?
You need a 15-page article
Yeah.
tomorrow?
A couple of months. Good.
Yeah, I can write something. I have quite a bit of stuff written already.
All right, good. Yeah, so this actually, I think, oh yeah, I've got to talk about the lunch next week on the 5th of June. If you don't have your tickets yet, they're a $60 donation. We always have a good time at the Yacht Club. The fashion there, all the young ladies strutting up and down. I don't know if anybody ever buys the dresses, but it's a very interesting time. A lot of people criticize and say, why don't you have a lecture? But tradition, I mean, history is tradition, and we have a fashion show every year, and it's very nice, and everybody has a nice time. The food is good, and raffle tickets, door prizes, plenty of excitement. So I'll invite you out to that. And then I think the next talk will be September. I got a promise from Chris Lloyd, who is promising to do the history of Basra, the Bahamas AC rescue. He said he's got plenty of pictures, and he can talk good. I think he can talk more than Ken. All right, thanks very much. Have a pleasant evening. Drive carefully. Thank you.